The first unit we did this year is the scientific method. You need to know the steps of the scientific method. You need to know the different aspects of a problem statement. You need to know how to write one. You need to know how to write a hypothesis. Okay, you need to know what a materials list and a procedure looks like. You need to know how to properly submit results. You need to know how to analyze your results. You need to know how to come up with a conclusion and a proper one. So all of this, do you think it's going to be on your written exam or your lab exam? Lab exam, okay? You will have to carry out an experiment and use the steps of the scientific method. You will have a booklet that you have to fill out, and that will be for marks, okay? Now for ecosystems, the list is long. We spent a lot of time on this unit. There's a couple cycles there, right? Matter, water, food chains, food webs, absolutely. Adaptations, absolutely, okay? Everything that's here could pop up because your exam is such that you will have multiple choice and then you will have short answer questions. Okay? So, and it's going to cover everything we've done so far with the exception of the design process. No design process is on the exam. None. That will be on your June exam. Characteristic properties was also another big one. We started off with characteristic versus non-characteristic properties. We looked at chemical and physical changes. We did a lot on the pH scale. Okay, acids and bases. How much more acidic or basic is something than something else? We looked at different indicators. Which one is more efficient? We looked at the periodic table and reading it. The coordinates, periods versus groups. We looked at the number of electron shells in an atom. We looked at how to draw an atom. Okay, what the nucleus is, the protons, electrons, and neutrons, where they hang out. We looked at how to calculate the number of protons, electrons, and neutrons in an atom. We looked at the 3 states of matter, and we also tied in acid rain to the pH scale. So all of that is fair game for your exam. So the last unit was global warming. And it might look like there's a lot of stuff on this list, but it really all ties into one another. One of the big things we talked about was the idea of the greenhouse effect, and that the greenhouse effect is a good thing, okay, because otherwise our planet is an ice box. It's too cold for life. We talked about how humans are impacting the greenhouse effect by creating more greenhouse gases. And we talked about, we drew the image of how greenhouse gases are trapped in the atmosphere, and they trap heat in the atmosphere. So all these things, and that leads to global warming. We talked about the carbon cycle, and how the carbon cycle is, what is one of the big kind of contributors to atmospheric pollution is the excess carbon dioxide that humans produce through their cars and their factories and industry. We talked about the human impacts of global warming for other organisms, melting polar ice caps, sea level rise, all of these consequences. Okay, we basically, all of this ties into increased levels of greenhouse gases that are our fault. Okay, and what are we trying to do to stop our use of non-renewable resources, basically petroleum products, coal, oil and gas, natural gas. Okay, these all produce a tremendous amount of carbon dioxide when we burn them for energy. But things like wind, solar energy, to a certain extent hydroelectric energy, and geothermal energy, energy that's just heat from the earth, those are renewable resources. They don't create as much, or they don't create anywhere near as much carbon dioxide or greenhouse gases. So there's a big push to use more renewable sources of energy. Okay, so have a look at that stuff in the iBook. This is a pretty good summary of what you can expect on your exam.